racing enthusiasts, are you ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level? Look no further because 29 Graphics has got you covered. Introducing 29 Graphics, the premier provider of high-quality sim racing wraps. Whether you're a professional racer or weekend warrior, our custom design wraps will make your car stand out from the competition. 29 Graphics is now the official graphics design partner of Saturday Night Racing League.
It's a big dive with water. Might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, they put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash.
Contact 29 Graphics on their Discord or the link in the video description.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Well, here we are live from Kansas Speedway. A little bit of a time constraint here tonight, but we're going to get through it as we're set to grid already. Let's just go ahead and jump into the points right out the stack. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, alongside Connor Horn. Well, let's bring that points graphic up on the screen. We'll talk a little bit about that while we have some time. Connor, it got tight here with the top three. Jeff Wright, not going to be here this week, but Mark Whitley, he's 9 out from Eric Hutton. Top three, very much up for grabs.
Yeah, top three is going to be interesting after tonight. Jeff Wright not here tonight, so he'll drop down the order. And he's the only winner in Kansas's history in this series. So we're going to get a new winner here tonight. Hutton and Whitley at the front. And then it's Taylor Butcher, Benjamin Banks, who already has a win this season. You have AJ Stravato back there in 12th with a win, and Bailey Turner in 20th. Most people are here. Stravato is not. Turner is here. Even Adam Cabot's here. He could be a threat tonight. So those points are going to tighten up in the top two, I would think, after tonight.
Well, we got to announce right here, right out of the gate, the Clark Print Shop poll is going to go to Michael Sturgill. He's going to try the start from the back with the EOL and race his way up through the field. So I was not aware of that was a thing, but apparently there's a little bonus there, a little incentive to go from first to worst and then back up there. And we're going to see if Michael Sturgill can do it here tonight as he qualified on the pole. But with that EOL, we'll put him at the tail end of this field. Let's go ahead and jump into the grid, though. Of course, we're racing 140 laps here tonight, so we got to go through. There's Michael Sturgill there, but Adam Cabot is gonna be on the outside. Let's go ahead and show those numbers. Adam Cabot's gonna take over that top spot, and then it goes on with Nathan Ferrata, Seth Hatchell for row number 2, Mark Whitley and Alex Bell. And it goes back, Jeremy Miller, Angelo Horonis, and rounding out that top 10, we'll actually have Bailey Turner, Casey Takatis, and 11th position car, Brand Chambliss, rounding out the top 10.
And then you got Joseph McWhorter, who's going to be up there as well. He's always a threat at these types of tracks. Ryan Carwile and Caleb Weekly would have been on the next row together, as the order is going to be shifted a little bit compared to this. And then behind them is going to be, behind the 7-1 and 13, I believe, is Ray Massey and Philip Brewer. Philip Brewer really fast in the race earlier tonight. And then Jerry Bergeron, Dakota Floyd, Max Kost, and Austin Belkey inside the top 20.
I was a little bit behind here on my graphics. a little bit dumbfounded, actually, that we're time crunching here with Taylor Butcher Benjamin, Eddie Trejo, 21st, 22nd, Joe Spinelli, Kyle Peacock, rounding through this field. There are over 40 cars again here tonight as we get through this grid. Chad Klinger in there as well, but the pace car's pulling off. We're going to get through this list of names. Green Flag and Racing for week number 5 of the season. Saturday Night Racing's Cup Series is underway at Kansas. A moment there for Mark Whitley. He's going to lead the first lap, but just barely there as he crosses the line. Cabot going to snag away the lead on the outside. The top-heavy Kansas Speedway, it's going to be like this all race long. In the last race I watched here in the B car, it was unpredictably loose. So for them to be passing like this, contact with the 77, wow.
Goodness, I think Whitley just wanted to get up and behind Cabot, just misjudged it. Both those drivers made a good save. Whitley still sideways off the corner and made the save. This track's gonna race a little bit differently tonight. Heard from multiple drivers that the setup on the top line is not as smooth as they want it to be. Bottoms out up there around the racetrack on the top side. So the top line might not be as dominant tonight, but you still saw Cabot take the lead away on that high side.
So Cabot got a little touch there while he took that lead. There's Seth Hatchell challenging the 77 of Whitley on the high line down the backstretch, and there were 3 wide back here. You got the 73 of Joseph McWhorter. He's picking up some positions, up 4 already. He was outside the top 10 to start the day. He's up to 8th already.
Making up time quickly, no really surprising, as he's one of the few trying to get clean air on the nose at the front. Everyone riding that white line on the bottom. He actually drifted up to the middle lane to get to the right rear of Angelo Hronis, and this is where you want to be positioned to make passes on the right rear of someone, on the outside of someone, being able to really control their car, pinch them down to the bottom of the racetrack, pinch their exit off. That's how you're going to make most of your passes tonight if you can.
We're looking back there at Philip Brewer, winner in the Track Champion Series at this racetrack. So coming off a confident race there, just a top 3 there in the Challenger Series as well. So less than an hour ago, he was up in the top 3. He has done really well at the 1.5 miles. And, you know, looking towards the top 10 as he cracks into 10th position. On the outside of Casey Lakatos, though, this high line, you know, it works and then it doesn't. That's really what it is. I mean, you run out of room eventually, and this track notorious for creating as he gets loose there. Well, I was just gonna say it creates kind of an illusion of security. As the race goes on, it's gonna be harder and harder to keep it off that wall.
Yeah, because the harder and harder you go, you know, the longer this race goes, the harder you're going to try to make it work up there for someone like Philip Brewer. The closer you're going to push your limits towards that outside wall. And once you hit it, you're probably going to be glued to it, and you're probably going to keep hitting it, trying to push harder and harder every time because you keep making mistake after mistake. If that setup is not good up there, we might see more drivers on the bottom than we've ever seen at Kansas in years past. But right now, it seems like the top line's all right, but Brewer immediately got to the bottom line once he got clear of all those cars, up to the 7th position. So it should be interesting to see who pushes that high line the most tonight.
So for Adam Cabot here, he makes another appearance in Saturday Night Racing, but he's kind of been MIA for most of the start. So to see the 17 out here, the Atlas 17 has always been fast, but, you know, it's just a matter of when does his schedule open up. But every time he makes an appearance, you're almost guaranteed to see him up in the top 5. He's phenomenal at what he does.
It's kind of the same thing for Michael Sturgill. At least Sturgill's made a points-paying start this season. Adam Cabot, his only start was in the Clash, and he came up just short of taking that victory. But usually when he runs these types of cookie-cutter tracks, this is where he's most this is where he's as big a threat as anywhere else, I would think. Obviously, his last win came out of Super Speedway, but I still think that the 1.5 miles at Dover and tracks like that, intermediate type tracks and 1.5 miles like this, are usually where he shines, and he's showing that right now with a 0.6 of a second lead. As we're looking at Michael Sturgill, he's trying to earn $50 tonight, taking the pole to EOL challenge. So he's up to 24th at this point, working on the 75 with Chuck Sweeting, trying to get to the front in a short amount of time.
Riding on board, and you know, Michael Sturgill, another one of those limited guys, as you mentioned, but here tonight, he probably took the, I mean, that pole to EOL challenge, this is probably one of the worst places to try it. So if he pulls this off, oh man, I would have to say he's invincible. I think that he is by far the best driver at Kansas Speedway if he pulls this out. So it's so difficult to pass here. We both know it, Connor. It's so frustrating. You get in somebody's dirty air, they could be a 10th or even a second slower than you, but good luck passing them because they're going to hang it up there. There's so many ways to play defense and not many ways to play offense at this track.
Yeah, it's going to be tough to pass. I know the bottom line might be preferred because of a setup tonight, but you're still going to see people trying to defend that high line, defend their right rear. Philip Brewer went back to the top side trying to get around Joseph McWhorter for 6th. Immediately, McWhorter kind of put the block on, just takes his air away on that high side. He's going to do it again. Force Brewer to go a short way around, but it's really the long way around. It's going to be tough to make those passes down there. But you can see it's working. Even though McWhorter's sliding off the corner, he still gets enough momentum off these corners off that high side with that progressive banking to just clear the 44, set sail away from him. So you're still going to be using that high line. If it's not the fastest line on your own, you're still going to be seeing mostly everyone using it to defend. There's a lot of racing going on the track. Not for the lead, though. Well, saying that, it is tightened up a little bit. Mark Whitley is closing in, but not quite yet, as here comes Chad Klinger trying to look to the outside 57 Castrol Supra of Dakota Floyd.
So Dakota Floyd getting a top 10 day there in the 57 just about an hour ago. And the sister track to Chicagoland, as we ride on board with Chad Klinger in the 17th position, trying to work his way through this field. He's worked up 11 spots already. A little off in qualifying, maybe a mistake. But as you look at these tracks and their similarities, there's also the characteristics. Chicagoland with the backstretch being curved. Kansas with the banking a little bit more shallow. You have to be a little bit more careful with your tires here at Kansas than you do at Chicagoland. As we showed in the Challenger Series, there's so many ways to get around Chicagoland. There's no wrong way. You just have to perfect your line and stick with it. Here tonight, there's 1 or 2 grooves, and if you don't run those, you're going to lose it.
Yeah, the thing about these, Kansas and Chicagoland kind of sister tracks, but I don't think they race that similarly, mainly because of the surface and the bump. Chicagoland, at least on iRacing, has Bergeron in the wall, but Kansas, it's pretty smooth at this point. It was scanned pretty much right after it got repaved, or not too long after, so it's a very smooth surface and progressively banked, so you see drivers all around the racetrack. Chicagoland on iRacing, very bumpy, very worn out, not a lot of grip, and you are always fighting the wheel on a track like that. You are fighting the wheel here, but it's not really because of bumps, it's just because of the tire wear that this tire and this car brings. So they are sister tracks, but I don't think they drive that much similar, at least not to me. As Whitley's closed down the race lead, as 73 McWhorter's still holding off Philip Brewer, and they're both trying to run this higher side.
So I call them sister tracks because they both were conceived about the same time. It was within the year, I believe, that those 2 tracks came onto the schedule. So as far as, 1.5 miles, you got Vegas that kind of started this shape, and then you have Kansas, Chicagoland, and I would even put, what's the other one I'm looking for? I think Nashville Super Speedway is what they're all modeled after. They just gave it an extra 0.2 of a mile. So you go to the new configurations, and you can get all scientific with how these tracks are made. Atlanta and Charlotte, those are the places that show that 1.5 mile racetracks can put on excellent racing, and so a lot of these racetracks are modeled off of those. With how they race, you can tell.
And this one, it's just one of the more fun tracks because you do get that multi-grooved aspect more times than not. We're starting to see Cabot kind of move up the track a little bit as Mark McFadden's closed in, but kind of got a big enough gap where he's going to go back to that bottom line. You could see Mark Whitley. Did I say McFadden? I meant Mark Whitley. Mark Whitley's in the second position, trying to move up a little bit, trying to get that run off the corner, get closer to the 17. He got as close as under 0.2 of a second, but he's not close enough to battle the 17 again quite yet.
Running on board with the 77, you saw the contact there between him and Cabot, now working his way back towards him. And this time by, looks like he's going to shave a 10th off the lead.
Got a lot closer there, still running the middle of the racetrack. He's kind of on that seam there. You can barely see the seam, but there are seams you could use for grip at certain points, but they can also get you a little too sideways for your liking, as he kind of had to wiggle up off the top of the corner of turn number 4. He's kind of stuck in that 3 to 4/10 of a second range at this point, although at least in 3 and 4 he's trying to avoid Cabot's air. He's not really hitting the bottom like he needs to in turns 1 and 2 as he gets it back down the track, but lost a lot of time there.
On board with Bailey Turner, has a win this season, but the 24 has missed a couple races, now looking to put himself back on the right track. I know a lot of these drivers run limited schedules, and it's a Saturday. It's tough through the summer, but we're approaching that early fall time. You're going to see more and more appearances from guys like Adam Cabot, Bailey Turner. Even it goes far back to Michael Sturgill. A lot of the drivers in here are consistent and they're good at what they do. It's just a matter of, do they have the time to be here? And I think now we're at the time of year where you're going to see not only the same 30 cars, but these guys as well all the way through the season. So hopefully we can see that points battle tighten up even more.
We'll see if they can run enough races, gain enough points. Anything's possible at this point as Bailey Turner gets let by Seth Hatchell for the 4th position. Hatchell not putting up much of a fight. You can see Turner still trying to wrap that bottom white line. Miller and Whitley kind of further up the track than you probably want to be, as Turner got all the clean air in the world through the center of the corner, and he'll take that every single time he can. If they come down there to take that air away, he'll just have to respond and maybe go higher, but this time not the case. Good as he is following Miller's tracks, as he's actually battling Mark Whitley for the 2nd position off of turn number 4.
Miller all over the back bumper. He's going to peek to the inside. Does that mean that it's possible here, as you see Whitley just give it up? I mean, he had no choice but to give it up. There was not a good entry there for the middle line.
Yep. Oh, I thought Miller was going to try to slide up in front of him, but I think Whitley was maybe trying to let him by. But saying that, he's just going to dive back to the inside, or at least give it a look. But Miller's already got the position at this point, so 77 might not be keeping the tires on it, and we're not really close to pit stops at this point. You'll probably pit around lap 45 to 50 if you can make it there. So if you don't have tires on it, you still got over half of a run left to make these tires last. So he's going to be in for a tough ride, I would say.
And there's another pass there for the 77. The 24 is going to get by for 3rd. Bailey Turner up 6 positions. So the top 3 starters are starting to fall apart a little bit. Philip Brewer back 9 positions, or up 9 positions rather, from where he started. The top 10 starting to fall out. You got drivers like Nathan Ferrata, who started up here. He's all the way back to the 17th position.
I believe he actually had an EOL as well, not for a challenge, but probably for 2 weeks ago, maybe causing crashes. I'm not quite sure, but he did have an EOL, so he's also had to come from the back. And it's ended up actually leading Michael Sturgill up the field a little bit. They're both right next to each other, both with EOLs, one by choice, the other not. Sturgill trying to get that position. That's for 17th on the racetrack at this point, as Bailey Turner is looking for 2nd on the racetrack.
25 laps completed now. I said 25, I meant 24. Adam Cabot comes down the backstretch with about 0.7 of a second lead. Bailey Turner is going to take over the 2nd spot. Now it's getting a little interesting, because the guys that are on limited appearances, Cabot, of course, missing the first 4 weeks. Bailey Turner getting a victory and now chasing down the 17. Looks like he has the speed to match. He is actually a 6/1000ths faster. He's matching lap times with Cabot.
Doing a good job at this point, and he might have better tires at this point. It's going to have to see a little later in the run at this point, because Cabot does have a pretty solid lead. It's now up to about 9/10 of a second, so we'll see if this starts to tick down. You can see off the onboard cam, Cabot kind of drifts up off that white line a little bit, maybe gives up some time there, and Bailey Turner capitalized to get it maybe another half-tenth down, but you can see that run off the corner. 17 still got a pretty decent run to keep that gap where it is, as he was faster than Bailey Turner last time by. Just McWhorter I saw just got in the wall off that rear bumper cam, but not too much damage done. But he's really, him and Philip Brewer are the few drivers trying to work this higher line in. It just doesn't seem like it's there. As I say that, Mark Whitley went up there.
Yeah, I think guys are holding on to what they race in the nighttime with this hotter track, and then we are also not running that iRacing fixed setup. Everyone's on the same setup, but I think it's a variation of that setup that everyone's running right now. And so, based off of that information, you got to kind of approach it a little bit different in testing and how you're going to get around this place. And for some of these guys, that wasn't possible. They get the setup kind of as is the day of, and so if you're gonna test, you got to do it through the week. You might not know how this thing is going to handle until the weather happens, you know?
Yeah, until you know what the weather's going to be, until you know what the setup's going to be. It's all sorts of variables, and at this point, yeah, right now, I don't think anyone was expecting it to be like this, where a majority of drivers fast are on the bottom while the guys on the top are struggling. It's not just setup. This track is hot. It's 137 degrees on the track at this point. Clear day, very hot, and there is a little bit of wind, but that's not going to help the track temp situation. So all these drivers, you know, they like a hot and slick track. It brings out the best drivers, but I don't think everyone's prepared for a hot and slick track, because that just means the tires get ate up more. You don't have any grip earlier on during the race, and it does not get much better. So these drivers are definitely in for a handful today for sure. Saw some smoke on the front stretch. Nathan Ferrata spinning on the front straightaway, but that's not going to bring out a caution.
The problems here for Ferrata, and he brings it into pit road. Looks like he's going to tow it.
Not sure what happened. We're just noting he was kind of moving up with Michael Sturgill.
He got loose there on the exit of 4 and slid up in front of, it looks like, Dakota Floyd. And then goes sideways through the grass. We'll back this up one more time.
Right here, Ferrata on the bottom and battling with Floyd, and he gets wiggly there and just kind of slides up in front of Dakota Floyd. I don't think the 57 could do much there. Ferrata was kind of out of control, just trying to catch it, and Dakota Floyd didn't really have much time to react, and Ferrata unfortunately gets the worst of that. His day is almost certainly done. So watch this surprise.
Yeah, there's nothing that Floyd can do about that at all. And you don't know that he's gonna slide up like that. You know he's clear. I mean, you heard that, but you know, because that car is sliding up the way it is, he's getting wiggly loose, it's scrubbing the speed off, and then once he's in your lap, you're 5 miles per hour faster, you're gonna run into him. There's just no choice.
So not much the 57 could do there. He's able to continue. I don't think there's any damage on that car as he's still in 17th position. There's still battles around the racetrack. We're talking about Philip Brewer moving up. Well, it's starting to fade away. He's back into a battle for about the 12th position with Brian Chambliss. So the high line, it's kind of what we're accustomed to seeing on iRacing, that higher line, wearing the tires out quicker. And you can see how much he's struggling as Brian Chambliss goes by. Carlisle is going to make the pass for 13th, and Chuck Sweeting's back there trying to get through as well. So that top line really starting to struggle.
Yeah, it seems like in practice, everybody kind of migrated towards the bottom. They started to learn from each other. People tried the top early. They realized it was wearing the thing down, and now everybody's migrating. They're trying here. I don't know. Maybe it's just monkey see, monkey do. I really don't know. The confidence level with a lot of these guys running at Chicagoland, it might have gave them a false sense of what this track is capable of on the line too.
Yeah, I still think there's people searching at this point, as we're probably 10, 15 laps away from pit stops. I think there's still a lot of drivers searching around this entire track for what works and what doesn't. I'm even seeing drivers struggling on the straightaway or through the tri-oval for grip on the rear tires. It's kind of what you're used to seeing in a COT, like a Gen 5, that they ran in 11 and 12. I mean, usually they're struggling on the tri-ovals and the dog legs, but usually not the Xfinity car. Usually not like this, but seeing everyone struggle at this point for grip, and I wonder if some drivers might even defect to an extra pit stop. The fall off, as I say that Chad Klinger is going to come in, the fall off, trying to look, it's not, I mean, it is big, it is 2 seconds, but I don't know if that's worth an extra pit stop.
And Klinger down pit road. Looks like Philip Brewer are going to follow as well. 2 cars down pit road. Taylor Butcher Benjamin also into his pit, but 1 lap down here for the 10 car. He is now down and away. Does that start the cycle here?
Yes, it does.
Yeah.
I'm actually shocked. This is looking like a 3-stop strategy to pit at this point. Cabot and Turner come in. Here comes another driver. It looks like Radford missed pit lane. Michael Sturgill makes it on pit entry. A lot more. Floyd's in. That's Kyle Peacock in the 83 in. So a lot of drivers going to do 3 stops, which I really did not think would be the case. I thought it would be 2 stops, but we might see 3 from the majority of the field. Oh, he's in.
That was close. So Jeremy Miller staying out. We still have about 20 cars yet to come down pit road. We're going to hand the lead over to the number 30 for a couple laps led. And now here's a scenario where the strategy at Kansas, when you stay out, you're not only losing time to these drivers that are going to come back out here with 4 fresh tires, but then you put yourself into a situation that even though you have fresher tires, because of the dirty air at this racetrack, it's so hard to get around, and you might have a 3-4 lap advantage, but it doesn't show once you get to that lead.
Yeah, and it's gonna make things interesting. Everyone being on different sort of tire strategies at this point, see what works and what doesn't. Looks like a decent amount of drivers are gonna try to continue and maybe try to get to that lap 45 to 50 range, and try to get that 1 less pit stop. Could be very, very important. Like you said, we're still waiting on pretty much half the field to come into pit lane. Eddie Trejo just exited pit lane. I saw Angel Horonis had just come down, as some 3-stoppers already came down. It looks like most people are not pitting. Now the battle for second, which is now second, is on. McWhorter and Bell are trying to trade places, or Bell's trying to trade places. I don't think McWhorter wants to trade places. He's another one of those trying to rip that high line. Just no grip up there, as here comes fresher tires now to Cabot, trying to unlap himself in case the yellow comes out, although he is in the lucky dog position at this point.
We have that lucky pass, currently in 18th spot here. So he goes around Mark Whitley. Started second. Probably going to resume the lead after all these pit stops cycle out, but it's interesting to me that, you know, guys like Cabot, Turner, Klinger have all tried this 3-stop strategy. You still have Jeremy Miller, Alex Bell. Yeah, they're losing a little bit of time. How does this all shake out at the end of this thing? This is going to be really close, because 2 stops, but for the amount of time that they lose on, you know, overall speed, where does that end up?
Well, they're going to end up right on top of each other if it all plays out, but we're a long way from that even happening. It's kind of how I look at it, is that if you want to do an extra pit stop, as the 17 unlaps himself, if you want to do that extra pit stop, you need to have speed. You need to be like a top 5 driver on speed in the race as the driver gets out of the way there. And Adam Cabot, Bailey Turner, they definitely have that sort of pace, so I'm not surprised that they're doing this. And for guys like a Ryan Carweiler or Chuck Sweeting, or even Mark Whitley, who is slipping back, if you don't have that pace, you're generally going to want to cut a pit stop out to gain as much time and everyone around you as possible. So what that creates, you're going to see a lot of drivers on different strategies zooming past each other like the 09 goes by. That's going to create some chaos when you have slower cars in the racing line and the guys on newer rubber struggling to get around. But near the end of the race, once this all plays out, you'll see Cabot and Turner probably trying to chase down Miller, Bell, McWhorter, and Hatchell, the drivers on the 2-stop, and it will be a very crazy finish with all these strategies going on at this point. But we're so far away from that. Still just under 100 laps to go until we get to that point, potentially.
0 cautions and 2 lead changes. So that's how the day has went so far. Jeremy Miller being one of those lead changes now, leading his 8th lap as he comes across the stripe. So we got more takers down pit road. It looks like Rob Denton has hit his stall. Michael Jones, no, just off the pace here for Michael Jones. I think he clipped the wall there through the exit of 2. A little damage on the right front.
Yeah, he is. I think he's been in the wall a few times, Baja Blasky, but able to trudge on 14th position. He has also not made a stop, but he is not too far away from going a lap down. And Bailey Turner doesn't quite know where to go. Finally gets to the inside of the 16 car, gets around, as he's trying to keep pace with Adam Cabot, who is about, I would say, 2 seconds ahead, maybe a little less, but pretty close to each other at this point, I would say. That's going to be the battle between the 3-stoppers, those two, I would think. As Joseph McWhorter, he's going to pit a little early for this type of strategy. Lap 45 is pretty close to where he'd want to pit, but it is a little early. Fuel is seeming to be at least a little tight for these guys trying this last stop.
This on your screen for the 5th, 4th, and 6th position. Some of those a little out of order, but Ray Massey is going to work his way up into the top 5. Lead battle I showed there briefly, but between Miller and Bell, it's about 1 full second. We're looking back here with Ray Massey as he continues to pull away from Ryan Carwile inside the top 5. Not much going on this racetrack. Chuck Sweeting down pit road. So the window of opportunity for the 2-stoppers is underway. We still have about 10 or 12 cars.
I gotta say, the more fall off I see, the more I like the 3-stop strategy. Jeremy Miller, his fastest lap was a 32.6. He's in the 35 flat range. That's a 2.5 seconds of fall off is a lot, even for a track like Kansas. So that 3-stop doesn't look too bad considering how much we get fall off. As Miller's gonna enter the pits, Alex Bell's gonna go another lap. Oh, he's sliding to a halt, but I think he got it down there. So Miller pits. Here comes Whitley. Here comes Carwile, the 23, the 71, and Seth Hatchell. And oh, Brian Chambliss is going to miss pit lane completely. So he's going to have a penalty to serve there.
Unfortunately there for Chambliss. If we can go back on the replay and get a look at that, it just slides through. Missed it probably by about 100 feet here.
So he got loose, and he's going to pit from the higher line. So that probably threw him off to begin with, and he just never even came close to getting slowed down in time. But you never really want to pit from the middle to higher lanes. But thankfully, I think McWhorter was behind him. No contact was made, but Chambliss loses a lot of time. Ray Massey comes down the next lap, as did Alex Bell, and Case Lakatos as well. So this should turn the lead over to whoever's leading the 3-stop strategy. I would assume it's Adam Cabot by 2.1 seconds.
So Bailey Turner worked his way into the top 3, and then about the time he got up to that 2nd position, we started the pit stops. And so for these guys, they're miles ahead, really, of the rest of the field. Jack Klinger is about 6 seconds back in the lead. 4 seconds back from Bailey Turner, but then you have to go another 3 seconds. This top 10 is so spread out. It's insanity. This is the closest battle here in the top 10 that I can find, really.
Yeah, I think most people are hoping, at least most people that are not inside the top 10, they're hoping this doesn't go green, because there's going to be a lot of drivers on this run that could be in danger of going a lap down, and they might not get that lap back. And even further back, you got some drivers who will have to be concerned about going a 2nd lap down. As looking at that race lead as Joe Spinelli comes down the pit, Adam Cabot's leads 2.3 seconds, and it is growing over Bailey Turner, but he has over 20 seconds, or at least close to 20 seconds, over Jeremy Miller, who was leading the 3-stop strategy.
There's Brian Chambliss just behind the 24 car. Chambliss has fresher tires. He's going to try to get one of his 2 laps back. And he'll probably have the tires to get one of them, but I don't know that he's going to be able to get 2 of them here.
Yeah, he's just going to have to take as long as possible. He's going to have to just run these out as long as possible to try to get laps back, try to get fresher tires on every run. And he'll probably really need to catch a caution at some point to get back in this race. And he needs a timely caution at that, because being down 2 laps, if the caution comes out when he's 2 down, his race is almost over completely. So he's going to need some good timing at this point.
Cabot getting around the 86 machine of Joe Spinelli. Spinelli had just came down pit road. 2 laps down now for the 86. Adam Cabot continues to pull away. 52 laps completed here at I almost said Chicagoland. It's at Kansas. That's what happens when you do them back-to-back here on V-Speed. But you're watching the Saturday Night Racing League Cup Series. We're going to take a brief commercial break here. Get M&J Distributors up on the screen. How about that? We'll be back right after this.
What's up, everyone? I am Joshua Banks, driver of the number 35 Mako Tool Supra.
Comes back. He's going to send it to the inside. They're 3 wide for the race lead. They're going to... Sean Banks is going to win it. Unbelievable.
And also co-owner of M&J Distributors, for the sponsor of Saturday Night Racing. So I just want to thank every single one of you for tuning into tonight's race. I hope you will put on a good show for you guys. I hope that you will enjoy it. So if you do, make sure you drop a thumbs up to V-Speed and subscribe to them, because they, as y'all know, if you haven't already, they put on some great broadcasts. So I'll make this short and sweet. The main reason for sponsoring Saturday Night Racing League is because I've been with these guys for a long time. I've raced with a lot of them. I've been through some rough times, some good times, and arguments and everything like that. But still, grand scheme of things, been through a lot of these guys, and I really do like where this league's going. I want to support it. They've given a lot to the league already, and I think, you know, I'm capable to support back. So that's what we're doing, and we want to keep this league free, you know, for people to join, to have a good time, come in and race and just have fun, you know, and that's what we're all about. So that's the main reason, and that's all I really have to say about it. So I hope you do enjoy the race, enjoy the season coming up. We are hopefully going to put on a great season for you guys. Also, make sure to check out my YouTube channel, Banksy the iRacer. Link will be in the description. Check out, and you can see my point of view, see what's happening on my end. If you want to watch it, it's completely fine. If not, no big deal. So come on over, hang out after the broadcast of this race, and hopefully we'll see you over there. If not, enjoy it, and I'll see you guys on track.
Lap traffic out of the way. It's between these two. They're even for the white flag lap.
This race still very undecided.
Bradley had the lift. Big run for McWhorter. This is going to be his chance.
They're running out of time, and they know it. Horsepower at their feet.
That was a huge run for Bradley. He got back the advantage, but here comes a big dive. McWhorter might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, he put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash. Here comes Ray Massey. Ray Massey's going to win it.
Back here live at Kansas Speedway, watching Adam Cabot here. He took over the lead very early in this race. He has continued to pull away from Bailey Turner. The gap now about 2.8 seconds as we come by for lap 59. And for the 17 of Adam Cabot, hasn't made an appearance here since the clash. Look at him now, picking up right where he left off. Every time he comes out here at these 1.5 miles, he's tough to beat.
And he's already proven tough to beat. Everyone on his strategy, out of everyone on his strategy, no one's really close to him. Bailey Turner's now 3 seconds back. And so it doesn't seem like anyone's got anything for the 17 on the 3-stop strategy. And if this went green at any point, or at least it's going green now, but if it got to that point, that 2-stop strategy looks to be led at this point, I think, by Jeremy Miller. He's about 11 seconds back, making times about a second faster than Cabot most laps. Now Cabot's about 10 laps away from his second of 3 pit stops.
Well, what proves to me here as we cycle back to the race scene, what proves to me that the 2-stop strategy isn't going to work is the fact that Michael Sturgill, who got the EOL to start this race, to have him back ahead of the 30, that tells me the timing is all off here. And based off of the laps, I don't think that the two-stop race is going to work out.
We're not going to know until about 70, 80 laps from now. And at this point, it just all depends on traffic. It depends on your pit entry, your pit exit. It's going to come down to so many more variables for all these drivers on differing strategies. We just got to guess what strategy is going to work. I've been watching other leagues, racing on my own leagues, thinking that strategy is not going to work, and then it does work. I'm like, I should have been on that strategy. So we just don't know what's going to play out. I mean, anything can happen at this point. We thought Jeff Wright almost had the title locked up last season. Look what happened.
Yeah.
So you just never know what's going to happen. I'm sure Miller is hoping his strategy is going to work. I'm sure Cabot's pretty confident with his pace that he can make it work. I think if that three-stop works, it's because of Adam Cabot's speed, because no one's really close to it. Like you said, Bailey Turner's over 3 seconds back. Miller's got a much better shot at the 24 than he does the 17. This would help if Cabot has to battle the 86 a little bit.
Yeah, that's going to help a lot, actually, because that just this time by a couple tenths, that fight there. But I guess what I want to say about the whole thing is that Jeremy Miller, yes, right now, he's probably about half a second faster than Cabot. But Cabot's right at the window. You go another, 10 laps or so, he's going to come back down pit road. So I think for him right now, there's no reason to be upset about the way he's running this race. It's just raw speed. Sometimes that's enough. You also have to take into the equation, though, if we don't stay green, none of this matters.
Yeah, it does not matter. What matters if it doesn't go green, as Butcher Benjamin slammed the wall in turns 1 and 2 there, letting the 17 by. What does matter it depends on if a yellow comes out at a bad time, like if it trapped Adam Cabot a lap down, or trapped the 30 a lap down, or just trapped a bunch of people a lap down. If that yellow were to come out, it could really shift this race up.
Max Cost in the 63 trying to unlap himself here. He has the lucky pass position in 23rd right now. He's another one of those drivers that's on the three-stop strategy. However, just a little off the pace here. Started 19th.
Someone was spinning on the front. Philip Brewer's taking some grass out of the front stretch. He saves it, gets back on track, but I've been seeing him struggle for a while on that high line. I think he finally just had a big slide.
Got to the wall a little bit as well.
Just had to straight line it just so to not rejoin at a bad time. Had to wait his turn, basically. He was 10th when that happened, but he's going to fall back a little bit here. Meanwhile, Jeremy Miller has moved into a 3rd position as Philip Brewer fell to 12th with that slide through the grass. As Miller at this point is running maybe 4/10 of a second faster, maybe more up closer to half a second faster than Cabot. Less than it was a second not too long ago, but
it's looking like the tires are evening off as well, right? And so for me, I'm thinking, okay, Cabot comes in here probably in the next 6 laps or so.
Yeah, I mean, he pit, I think, pretty close to 35. As a matter of fact, yeah, I think he actually pit 36. So next 5 laps would probably be when he wants to come down. So not too far away at this point. And you might even see Bailey Turner come in a little earlier, maybe try to jump the 17, but being that far back, I don't think that's going to be possible.
Yeah, the fact that Jeremy Miller couldn't catch him on this run, that tells me that he's going to have a very tough time, because we're at 6.2 seconds, 6.3. I accidentally turned the ticker off there for a second, but you look at these intervals, it's just, I don't think mathematically it's going to work out. I think Cabot's probably going to pit here once that deficit gets down under 5 seconds. I think Cabot's just going to come in and then he's going to pull away. I don't think it's going to work out for Miller. He will probably get a top 5 out of it, though.
Yeah, just trying to see what, like, the gap from Cabot to Miller when the 17 pit was probably closer to about a second. So if you do that sort of math, Miller's probably lost at this point about 5.5 seconds of a 17 doing this one less stop or just doing this longer stint in general.
Yeah, it's tough. It's a tough call. And again, the yellow comes out. None of this matters. But right now with the strategy of this race going green, we're right at the halfway point. Perfect opportunity right here. Let's say we find those remote controls, those volume knobs, whatever you got to do. Let's turn it up. Let's get loud. Presented by 29 Graphics. That was Get Loud, presented by 29 Graphics. It looks like the 17 is going to start there on this stint. He didn't let Bailey Turner short pit him. And now the 17 of Adam Cabot back out on the racetrack. I would like to see the 24 probably come down this time by.
But I also think at this point, he saw the 17 beat him. He's like, okay, well, I might as well try to get at least some sort of tire advantage on him. Because it already doesn't look like he's going to be able to beat him on pure speed, just raw speed. So just trying to get some fresher tires. Looks like he's going to come in this lap 72 of 140. So that will give the lead back to Jeremy Miller, who will now lead by about 2.2 seconds over Alex Bell, who's also on this same strategy.
So again, you know, Cabot is going to unlap himself right here. And we're 3 wide off of turn 2 there briefly. That's the 10 of Butcher Benjamin that's just, you know, struggled here tonight. The 10 car back up to 17. He'll have a lucky pass position. Max Voss back into the 15th spot now. We were talking about him just a moment ago with that lucky pass. And problems here on pit road, I think. Bailey Turner has lost a lot of ground to Adam Cabot. A lot of ground.
I just think that's how undercutting's going to work when the fall-off is as high as it is. He didn't do anything wrong. Got into pit road good, got into his stall good. That's just how valuable undercutting on tires is. He just lost that much time.
He's going to come out about 6 seconds. That's a lot of time from Adam Cabot. You look here with Bailey Turner has to get around the 30. I don't know what happened there to the 24, but I don't think he's even in the equation anymore.
I don't think anything really happened. It's just that's how much of an advantage tires is. Looking at Adam Cabot's laps, at least on the previous run, his fastest lap on that last run on tires was a 32.6, and then right before he came in the pit, he ran a 34.7. So that's a second and about 2 seconds of fall off, and 24 is already about 3.5 seconds back. So it's not like he lost that much time. Trent Massey almost hit the wall after Cabot got by. That was probably Shoemaker actually that almost hit the wall there, but that's just how important tires are and getting the pit road before someone. It's how important it is.
So continuing to cycle through, I think we're kind of scattered throughout this field where we're going to see 1 or 2 cars come down probably every other lap. Gary Bergeron now from about the 13th position now into pit road. I'm interested to see, you know, guys like Chad Klinger that cycled out in the top 3 what it's going to look like for them by the end of this race. You got Michael Sturgill, who was in the top 5 before all these pit stops, the first round of pit stops started, where he's going to end up after taking that EOL. And Jeremy Miller continuing to stay out here. He's going to get some more laps led. If nothing else, though, Miller could say, hey, of all the drivers that did it in 2 stops, I'm going to finish the best. He is on track to do so. Alex Bell is about 2 seconds behind him. I think the 30 has a top 5 in the books here.
We'll just have to wait and see. Still got to do pit entry, pit exit one more time, as does now the 17, 24, 3, and whoever else is doing that strategy. And he had a drive-through penalty at Indy that kind of derailed his race, where he would have been a factor for a win there with how the fuel strategy ended up playing out. So nothing's done quite yet. And he's probably got that in the back of his mind, just trying not to make a pit road mistake again, to throw a position away, or multiple positions away it would be at that point, as Chuck Sweeting is going to come down. He's going to pit. So some other drivers, this is a little bit between windows, I would say, to pit at lap 80. Definitely need one more pit stop from here. But it is a little later than most drivers would pit at this point, as Eddie Trejo going to do the same thing. He also peels off lap 78.
So now I got to wonder, are some of these guys that maybe were committed to the 2 stops, saw what the speed is with 3 stops, and now they're reconsidering, and maybe they're going to try to get positions that way?
I think these drivers are on the 2-stop strategy. I know Chuck Sweeting for sure is, but this is definitely early for him. So maybe Chuck Sweeting, he might be one bailing on that strategy a little bit. I do believe Trejo is on a 3 stop at this point. So he just really, this run, he just went way long this time. As still looking at that lead, Miller and Beller continuing to be separated by 2 seconds. And
that was a teammate there.
Teammates almost came together. McWhorter kind of drifted up the track. It almost hit Mark Whitley. Taylor Butcher Benjamin and Ray Massey almost had contact at the same time. That's actually let Angelo Horonis, who's on fresher tires, get by a little bit easier.
That was a mistake by McWhorter. He touched the apron and sent the car back up the track. Let's see on board here with the 77. See how close this was.
Yeah, he hit the apron. That's exactly what caused that. That could have been way bigger for sure. And this is another one kind of like the 75, where this was someone 2-stopping this race, and it seems like the McWhorter's kind of abandoning it, pitting with 60 to go. Cannot make it from here, so needs another stop.
Gary Bergeron going by for the 24th position. He'll get around Austin Belkey. There's a lot of names through this field that, you know, are usually up here in the top 10. They're struggling tonight. Belkey being one of those drivers. You could say Chuck Sweeting, he's having struggles. He's in 20th right now. Maybe some of this is because of the different strategies on the racetrack, but from what I'm seeing, there's quite a few guys that are off the pace to what we usually see.
I mean, it just shows in the amount of drivers that are a lap down. We only have 13 drivers on the lead lap, and most people who are a lap down are not on an extra pit stop at this point. Brian Chandler.
Angelo Horonis is a lap down.
Horonis is, I believe, on that extra pit stop. Max Cost is actually coming in now for his 2nd stop of the day, and he's already a lap down, or at least was, so he's not having the pace that he needs. Caleb Weekly's down 2 laps down in 29th. With a lot of right front damage. Taylor Butcher Benjamin, we saw his wall tap. He's 2 laps down. Bergeron, Kyle Peacock, Dakota Floyd. I mean, there's a number
Weekly's
of drivers.
fighting for one of these laps back, though. I think in this situation, if the 30 pits, like he could get one of them back, because Cabot's probably going to resume the lead, but he's going to have to put up one heck of a fight here.
I don't think he has the pace.
No, it's looking wiggly loose too.
Yeah, so this is kind of what happens when you get a setup that not a lot of people are used to, and it takes their feel for the track away. You get this spread out sort of race where you see some drivers who are able to manage it, but you see a lot more drivers struggling with it and just not up the pace.
Miller on the outside. Angelo Horonis is going to get his lap back. And now we have 14 cars back on the lead lap. And 30 of Jeremy Miller, 100% committed to this two-stop race. He's sitting here on this stint at 38 laps, so we expect to see him in within the next 7 or 8 laps to make it to the end of this race. It's kind of, I don't know, it's kind of surreal. We've went this clean and green with starting 34 cars. Speaks volumes about the Cup Series, but at the same time, look at the pace of, you know, guys that came in here and maybe practiced just on fuel, what you can do and what a setup is capable of on a 2-stop versus 3-stop. And who practices that much, Connor, to figure that out?
I think it's just all about feel. I think for drivers like Cabot and like Miller, they probably, during this race, not even in practice, but I'm sure during this race, they started looking at the lap times, looking at the amount of fall, and we're like, okay, am I faster if I take tires, or am I faster if I cut a stop out? And you got to make that decision before lap 35 when the 17 and everyone started the 3-stop strategy. You have about 30 to 35 laps to figure out, are the tires wearing too much to do one less stop? And at that point, in that 30 to 35 range, you had majority of drivers decide, yeah, I think I do need to do this one extra stop. But then some other drivers thought, no, I think I have the pace and I think I can win this with cutting a stop out of it. So you make that decision kind of on the fly, as I'm sure most of these drivers did.
Alex Bell got very loose there out of the exit of turn 2. I think the wheel was at about 40 degrees to keep that thing going straight. Had a brief little brush with the outside wall, almost did it again.
And before that, he'd been closing in on Miller. It was 2 seconds.
Yeah.
It's 1.6 now, and even there, he was really running, even through all that traffic passing him, he was running a similar lap time to 30. There is some right front damage on Miller.
He is wheeling this thing they're running too, huh?
Yeah, this just shows how much those tires are wearing. Miller does have right front damage, but that happened well earlier, so you wonder how much that affects his long run pace and affects the strategy especially. Still leading, still faster than 15 enough short run that Bell won't get to him before pit stops, I don't think, but it does make things a little bit more interesting.
Mark Whitley in the 3rd position. We saw the great start to this race. He was up there challenging for the lead, had some contact with Cabot, but since then, it's been pretty quiet here for the 77 team. Quite a few drivers that have had quiet nights. Speaking of that, Seth Hatchell is in the 4th spot. Got a shout out there, V-Speed on the hood, so I mean, we got to get him some TV time, but, you know, what was it, just a couple weeks ago, Seth Hatchell was one of the drivers that was competing for a win the whole race.
Hatchell, so close at Indianapolis, and it's not looking as close this week. Not a fuel strategy race, just a tire strategy race, but committed to this one less stop and not keeping the pace with Miller and Alex Bell, although he is with Mark Whitley within about 7/8 tenths of a second at this point, so hanging on. But not too far behind is Adam Cabot. He's actually not the first driver back there, but he is only 2.5 seconds behind with one extra pit stop. As Just McWhorter, he's struggled a little bit tonight. He's in the 14th position, and he still has to pit one more time. Cannot make it from where he pit on lap number 80.
So here's the scenario that you were talking about pre-race, that Jeff Wright, historically, in the Saturday Night Racing League, is the only winner at this track. So you take him out of the equation, and then you have a guy show up that hasn't been here for the first 4 weeks. He's statistically going to win this race. Everybody else here has got to be frustrated with, you know, well, it's anybody's race. Jeff's not going to be here. Well, Adam Cabot's here. What do we do now?
You got to take it to him. It doesn't matter who's in the race. You just got to go with the thought process that you're going to beat beat everyone no matter who's on the racetrack.
Yeah.
That's what Miller's thinking right now. That's what Bailey Turner was obviously thinking, even though they're kind of different. Cabot are kind of similar in certain ways, but we've already talked about Bailey Turner 5 seconds behind. He has actually gained on Cabot after going a little longer, but not close enough to battle him whatsoever.
And the spread, if we get a blend camera of this racetrack, cars are on all 4 corners of this racetrack at any given time. They've spread out that much. In a 94 lap run, they probably look like little ants on your screen right now. But yeah, you can pretty much see cars wrapped around this whole, and that's a 1.5 miles, folks, that we're We've got 31 cars all the way around it right now. It looks like a lot more when they're spanning out across this whole racetrack. It makes it very difficult from our point of view to figure out who's going to end up front.
Meanwhile, we know who's up front now. It's Seth Hatchell, because everyone on that 2-stop is pit, or at least the drivers at the front have. Jeremy Miller's in, Alex Bell came in. They also followed Michael Jones in, Carwile as well, and Ray Massey as well. So for all those drivers, it's their final pit stop. Seth Hatchell's going to take it a little bit longer, because he just got past Mark Whitley for what's now the lead of the race.
Okay, so Lakatos, 24 laps. He's on kind of a weird number here. Actually 46, so he's on the same stint. I apologize for that. It's Adam Cabot getting by him.
Cabot's sliding.
Cabot's loose. Whoa!
Huge mistake. Wow.
What happened there?
I don't know. That just looked like he lost it. I wasn't expecting that. That just kind of came out of nowhere. All of a sudden, he's sliding into our screen, running the high side around Case Lakatos, and he just lost.
Out of the wall.
He got in the wall, just used too much of the track, and then had to slide. And huge mistake to make. That really changes things for the 2-stoppers, and he almost made heavier contact at that point. Really gonna change things for Miller and the 15. I mean, that's a lot of lost time.
Ooh, look off the back of the 86 of Joe Spinelli. You're going to see Adam Cabot come across your screen right about here.
Wow. Yeah, that could have been way bigger. Although a yellow at that point wouldn't have been bad. It wouldn't have been bad for him, as Taylor Butcher Benjamin's slow on track. A yellow wouldn't have been horrible for him, because it would have trapped some people laps down, but goodness, that was wild.
Well, it helps Bailey Turner. He just got back about 3 seconds.
It certainly brought the 24 back into things at least a little bit. I mean, he's still... Oh, someone's in the wall up ahead. And really slow.
Spinelli.
Spinelli's really struggling tonight, so that's going to probably lose a lot of time.
Oh, there.
8:24.
They were 3 wide just behind Spinelli. He was way off the pace there. Ryan Carwile, Bergeron, and a few others. And here comes Carwile through the middle. Things are getting a little more racy.
Oh, boy. Denton hit the wall a little bit back there as well. But, yeah. We got Eddie Trejo sliding out of turn number 4. Him and Austin Belke have made contact, I think. And this is... I don't know who wants to see what.
It's all falling apart, Connor.
But it's still staying together, and you're just kind of gluing it together at this point with that purple glue that you used to have. That was
wow.
Belke slid down the track, and Trejo had nothing he could do, and Trejo got a lot of right front damage out of that. And I don't think Cabot and Turner want to pick quite yet, because that yellow could come out at any moment and kind of help them a little bit. They're still probably 5-6 laps away from their window, as Belke's immediately going to bring it to the pit lane. He's
gotta go.
Gonna make it. I don't think
close.
that counts.
Does it count if you have 2/3 of the front end?
I don't think so, but we're about to find out. They are 3 wide across a bunch of places. Lakatos, Denton, and Ray Massey are 3 wide. Cabot's still kind of struggling a little bit, although he's kept that 3.5-second lead off of Bailey Turner. This is actually for position between the 23 and the 50. This is for 17th position, as they're just squeezing by Brandon Wallace.
So for me, I got to go back one more time here with Adam Cabot. I got to go on board here with the 17. This is the mistake here. If something changes with Cabot and he doesn't win this race, I can go back and review this.
Yeah, it was a great save for sure. Almost catastrophic there, but yeah, if it comes down to about 3 seconds, we know where to point at right there, as he's actually extended that lead back to 4 seconds over Bailey Turner, as someone just
Turner's
hit back
in traffic
there.
As well, yeah. He's got a lot of traffic around there. It's not helping at all.
Joe Spinelli just pit. Lakatos has gotten back. He stayed ahead of Ray Massey. They also just passed Jerry Bergeron.
This is where it gets interesting. Jeremy Miller, who's on a 2-stop strategy, he's just now, breaking it in. He's up to 6th now. The closest driver that's on the same stint on tires is Alex Bell. He's back in the 8th position, about a full 3 seconds back from him.
And at that point, that's who Miller's racing at this point, and that's a pretty good gap to have to where he doesn't have to battle Alex Bell, at least at this point, and use up tire that he doesn't want to use up to have to stay ahead of him. So that's the best scenario at that point for Miller, to not have to battle anyone on his own strategy. The hard part is when the driver is taking an extra pit stop, start flying by him. That's where he'll lose the most amount of time on this final stint, as he's actually getting back by the 29 after the 30 obviously has fresher tires. Still waiting on Adam Cabot, Bailey Turner, and a few others to finish.
This would be the final stop of the night for Adam Cabot. Jeremy Miller, of course, already on his final stop. He's going to run this thing out until the end, but it's kind of in that gray area. He pitted a little earlier than we predicted, so this right around the 45 lap mark would split this race into two stops and split it into thirds. Again, I'm going back. Cabot's mistake, it changes my mindset a little bit, but again, the lead is stretched out and it's over 4 seconds again. No, Connor, we can get as analytical as we want. Here comes the 17.
It's got to be a good pit entry now. He probably didn't need to push as much now, or before that slide, but now he's got to try to get everything he's got. His 24 is going to stay out, get a lap led here, and maybe just try to go as long as he can to get a bigger tire advantage or catch a caution, because I think he knows he can't beat the 17. So it's going to be interesting to see what he tries to do here. Maybe he does bet on a caution.
You want to roll those dice? I mean, there is a casino here in Kansas as well. Nope, he's not going to gamble that much.
He's been wanting to gamble. This is a really fast entry, but I think he got it down. About as much as you can maximize there is now Chad Klinger will take the race lead away. And all those drivers in front of Miller, or two of them, Klinger and McWhorter, still need to come down the pit. And Jeremy Miller is almost up to the 73 anyways.
Things sounded like a handful, and Klinger's actually on fuel conservation down that backstretch to stretch it that extra lap. And here on the RPMs, he's doing everything he can to save. 17's going to go by.
Yeah, he can't.
On the lead lap.
I do wonder what Klinger would be saving fuel for. Definitely cannot make it to the end, but maybe just trying to save because he knows he's not in position to win, and now he's maybe the one trying to catch a yellow to help his race out a little bit.
But Jeremy Miller about 2.5 seconds back here. A weird spot here for Chad Klinger, but he is going to get some laps led. The 30 going to chase him down as all cycles through. Miller is about 28 seconds ahead. So for Adam Cabot, chasing him down about a full second a lap.
And now at this point, it's all about watching that gap and seeing how the tires even out at this point.
30 to go. That's plenty of time to catch up.
And it's also plenty of time for the tires to even out. You just have to see how this one changes at this point. I mean, these tires have worn 2.5 seconds at points of this race, but that rubber buildup kind of makes that gap come down a little bit at this point. So it's just going to be interesting to see if the tire fall off is still big enough to where the 17 can make it up.
There's Jeremy Miller. Chad Klinger is coming down pit road now in the 09. This is right around 30 laps to go for him. What a race. What a race here. 0 cautions and 11 lead changes. Cup Series just putting on an excellent show.
Definitely going to be, I'm sure these two are going to cross paths of 17 and 30 at some point near the end of this race. It's just a matter of how much time Cabot has to make that pass. As last time by, he was about 1 second faster than the 30. And at that rate, he will get there with probably over 6 laps to go, but gradually you'll see those tires even out, and that will change. So he's got to keep the tires pretty as fresh as he can while also still being that much faster than Miller to make sure he can get there.
And he's also got the factor of traffic. 83 of Kyle Peacock here. He's got to get around. Go to the inside now. Peacock way up the racetrack, and if you meet him at the wrong time, that can cost you a couple tenths. That's what this race can come down to, is just passing 1 lap car.
That's going to be an important thing. For Adam Cabot, he is trying to pass traffic as smoothly as possible on fresh tires. For Jeremy Miller, the traffic that's catching him, he's trying to let go in the best places possible. So it's kind of 2 different races within one complete race for both drivers at this point.
Laps continue to tick away. We're sitting at 37 laps left in this event. Another quick commercial break here. We have you here on V-Speed. You're watching the Saturday Night Racing League presented by M&J Distributors. More coverage right after this.
Racing enthusiasts, are you ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level? Look no further because 29 Graphics has got you covered. Introducing 29 Graphics, the premier provider of high-quality sim racing wraps. Whether you're a professional racer or weekend warrior, our custom design wraps will make your car stand out from the competition. 29 Graphics is now the official graphics design partner of Saturday Night Racing League.
It's a big diving water. Might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, they put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash.
Contact 29 Graphics on their Discord or the link in the video description.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Here live at the Kansas Speedway, and Jeremy Miller, your leader. A lot of racing left to be done. We're sitting right there at the 31, 32 laps to go. I'm watching Adam Cabot shave about just under a second a lap here. Last time by a 34.6 for Miller. Cabot a 33.8. Tires are starting to even out. Now I'm starting to second guess what I thought. I thought 3 stops was going to win the thing. With Miller right now, he's looking better. And I think with Cabot going through the grass, that changes things.
I think it definitely changed things. It's an extra 3 seconds at its disposal. It'd be at 12.1 or so right now. But that gap is starting to decrease at a lesser rate. Last time by, Cabot was only about half a second faster, or 0.6 of a second faster. This time by, Cabot runs a 33.9 and Miller ran a 34.5. So it's another 0.6 of a second, but I don't think at that rate he's going to get there. So Miller needs to fall off harder, or Cabot needs to find some speed somewhere.
Yeah, at this fall off rate, Cabot, yes, he's at 15 seconds, just under a second a lap. It's progressively going to work towards half a second a lap. I hate math.
Well, there's a spin. Ray Massey spun off of turn number 4, and the caution is out.
Oh no. And Ray Massey knew that he just changed the whole scenario. He disconnected from the session.
That changes everything. It gets a big restart, but it's not the end of the world for Miller, because almost everyone's going to take 4 tires here. I would be shocked if anyone did anything different, as we'll get the replay of Ray Massey all on his own.
This might be a little far back here. I was trying to find exactly when it happened with Ray Massey disconnecting. Is this a mistake with the wall? It looks like he was struggling on handle the whole time.
Huh. I don't know what happened there. He had an internet connectivity issue, and then he was out of the race. So really weird, because once he came back in, he was wrecked. So I'm not sure what happened there. It almost looked like, I don't know if he was coming pit road or blew a tire or something broke in his actual wheel or what, but he goes up the track, slows way up. It's like he's coming to pit lane, but then his internet goes up, he blinks out. And then next time we see him, he is sideways off of turn number 4.
Yeah, and it's so broken that we'll go back one more time. I'm going to try to keep this camera as best as I can, because he blinks out here. I don't see him again on the replay, so I don't know. That is mysterious. Had pit stops there. We all cycle through. This buries Adam Cabot a little bit deeper in the field, puts Jeremy Miller in a really good spot, but it also puts him in a bad spot as then everyone's on even tires.
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah, we're gonna have to dissect that after the race, I'm sure. I don't think Ray was trying to do anything, but it's just really weird, whatever happened to his internet or his sim that happened there. But like I said, this really isn't the worst thing in the world for Jeremy. Yes, it looked like the gap was going to be good enough to where he would win this race, but he still has the best shot to win this race. He has the freshest tires, and he's going to restart as the leader. He'll get the jump on everyone. It's just about short run pace at this point, and he's going to have to push hard. And I know he doesn't want to do that as 77 comes back to pit lane, but not the end of the world for him.
I think we need to pull Chris Rude up here. This is driver in the Challenger Series that would probably give us an answer. Chris Rude, it's Bradley Cooper, Connor Horn in the V-Speed booth. You got us?
Hey, yeah, how you guys doing?
Well, we are probably doing better than you right now. What happened to the 23 that created that situation? What was going on there?
Yeah, hardware failure. So he had a VR crashed on him. So luckily, as I think Bailey got by, he was able to dump down behind him. And is that what brought out the caution, or did he get it off cleanly? We couldn't really tell from where we were sitting.
Yeah, it looked like he went sideways there on the exit of 4, so as he disconnected from the session, maybe we don't entirely know. We couldn't get a replay of it, so I don't know exactly what happened.
Yeah, he was, from what we could see and what he had said, is his VR started crashing as he was coming through 4, and Bailey was down there. So he went ahead and tried to pull it down, and from what I could tell, he actually made it to pit road. So just he happened to have the right angle. I'm not sure what he did to get there. Haven't heard back from him yet. But yeah, he had the VR crash on him, so I think he did the best he could trying to get out of the racing groove and not take anybody with him.
Well, we appreciate the insight there, and Chris, I know you guys are always paying great attention there to the 23 team and what's going on, so sorry that we had some hardware failure. I thought maybe that was what had happened, but I just wanted to confirm it.
Yep, yeah, that's what happened. Appreciate you guys checking in.
Chris Rude on the team there, and Hunter, man, that's a shame because it shakes up the strategy. I know Ray Massey would not intentionally do anything like that, but that changes everything in this race.
Puts a lot of people back into this race. We're showing 19 lead lap drivers, and I think 7 of them are taking the wave. We got so many drivers coming around the racetrack on old tires that are going to be a part of this race at this point, but it is going to be a huge restart as you see the wave rounds in turn 2. This is a big one for Alex Bell for sure.
Well, let's find out if Jeremy Miller can hold on to this lead. He has Alex Bell, Seth Hatchell, Casey Lakatos, and Ryan Carwile for the top 5. Pace car out of the way. The only caution here tonight with less than 20 laps to go. Green flag is out. Great start here for the 30. Miller into turn 1. Bell spins the tires. They're crashing behind. That's probably a product of not waving the yellow here.
Dakota Floyd got ran over. Yellow comes out.
I think they needed to delay the caution there. A lot of cars had not gotten caught back up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why they weren't able to. I think most people were kind of sleeping there, but that was kind of a product of catching the pace car a little too late. They pretty much got there, but they all stopped at the restart zone, and Dakota Floyd got, he was the unfortunate bystander there and just got ran over by, I think that might have been Butcher Benjamin. Yes, it was, right? Bam, right there. As Belke did a good job avoiding contact there as well. But that's not the end of the world for Dakota Floyd and everyone else, because now they get to take their tires.
Also not the end of the world for Jeremy Miller, because that's less laps that he has to be out here.
He would love this to go even closer to the lap 140 range and get less laps.
Oh boy. Well, all the math that we were wrapping our heads around and stressing over, guess what? Doesn't mean anything. All changed. Everybody's on an even set. You've got Adam Cabot, who picked up I think 1 position there on that restart. For all the more that we went, but he's going to be back here in 6th spot. There's a nice cushion here for Miller. If he gets another good launch like he just did, he could very easily set sail into the sunset and win this race. And based off of the strategy that he pulled out, he did something a little bit different than everyone else. I think I could be happy with seeing the 30 car win this race. However, I think Adam Cabot is also, you know, based off of raw speed and what he's done, it'd be a shame to not see him get up here and challenge, at least for a couple laps.
I think at this point in the race, those passes for Cabot are going to be even tougher. He actually restarted 6th, so he did not gain a position on that restart, but he never even had time to. So yeah, he's got to pass 5 cars in under 10 laps now. It's the opposite of what Miller needs for Cabot, and he needs this to go green so he can make these passes instead of having restart after restart. The position that did change hands there was Seth Hatchell. He actually got 2nd from the 15 of Alex Bell. I think on that 2-stop strategy, Bell was the closest to Miller, but he never really challenged the 30. So I think Jeremy Miller probably feels very comfortable with everyone behind him besides that 17 and that 24.
We haven't even doubled up yet. We're going to have 10 to go when we take that 1 to go signal. It'll be 9 laps here. Keep in mind, we do have 3 green-white checkers in this series. We can't go into overtime that many laps. If you're Jeremy Miller, you're praying that this race goes green and you are able to get a good launch. Seth Hatchell, Alex Bell, everyone behind you right now. I'd say Bell probably has the best chance of any of the cars in this top 3 right now. If we're going to go for an upset, I think the 8, he's notorious for just coming out, you know, right place at the right time for Seth Hatchell usually.
Trying to get some redemption for Indy. This would be a great place to do it, a great time to do it, to steal it from someone else, not on fuel mileage, but would still be a steal at this point, as this has been a race dominated by Adam Cabot and Jeremy Miller. So really anyone besides those two I think would be an upset, because they've been the 2 leading their strategies, and they were going to be the 2 that were going to clash at the end on those differing strategies. But now you got Lakatos in 4th. He could really spoil the party here if he can get one good restart. Ryan Carlisle looking for another win, and then even not too much further behind, Michael Sturgill's in 8th. He's still got $50 on the line if he wins this race. So he's going to try everything he can to get to the front near the end of this race as well.
$50 on the line. Let's see what Sturgill's got. It's going to be a lot of passing, but he showed that he had speed, and this is kind of where he showed it, was qualifying runs, and that's what this last 9 laps is going to be like. You're just going to go out there and run as fast and as hard as you can, and the tires are fresh. No reason to save anything for this last little stint. And you got to avoid the carnage, and you know drivers are going to get crazy. How about this? We got Christopher Hodges just outside the top 10. I'd like to see him after a 31st starting position. He's up 19 spots. He could very easily get a top 10 here tonight.
Yeah, and for this, it's like we've been talking about, it's all about the launch for Miller. If he just gets away and not side by side in the turn number 1, he should have a pretty good chance here if this were to go green. You wouldn't mind those yellows coming out.
Well, let's look off the back end of the number 30 and see what kind of launch he can get on Alex Bell and Seth Hatchell. Alex Bell matched him pretty well there, Lakatos.
Oh my God.
Oh no, Hodges.
Hodges is, just as you were talking about him, he's going to lose all those spots, but I don't know how all of them kept it straight. That was a wild restart, and that's not been good for Miller. Cabot's gotten up to 4th and all that.
And he's lurking just behind, as you see. Alex Bell challenge for the lead.
Oh, Bailey Turner's in the wall, hard out of turn number 4. Big crash. Michael Sturgill's in it, and Mark Whitley's also in it. Caution's out.
Sturgill has terminal right front damage there.
That's his chase for the money over. And it's Bailey Turner's chance at a victory over as well.
What happened to the 24?
Just saw him get sideways, side by side with Carlisle. Ooh, he just lost it there. And then lost it there. Don't know if he had contact with the 09, but a quick wiggle there and takes out 3 really fast cars. 24 wiggles there, gathers it. And then he just lost it on his own. I think Carlisle kind of sliding up in front of Bailey kind of took the air off him and just changed the air on his nose and just completely got him cocked sideways because of that. So actually surprising not that many cars were involved. We got away with a wreck on the restart, but we couldn't avoid it here. Sturgill had nowhere to go.
Well, I can tell you one thing for certain. Jeremy Miller just got bailed out because I think he was about to get challenged by Cabot, Bell, Hatchell. One of those 4 drivers behind him here, with even Carlisle, we're going to get up there to his inside and put him in a situation. So the less laps that's possible, I think the better for the 30 team. However, that last restart, everybody was on point. He needs to do better on that last, compared to that last restart.
He got a good launch, and that's going to be important as the laps wind down, but he didn't really get out of turn 2 that well. And then that let Bell get a little bit of a run to him, and then he gave Alex Bell the bottom line. And I can only imagine Miller's trying to force him low, make him pass in bottom, because that pass is going to be tough to make, but you don't really want to give the 15 any clean air. But the risk of that, if you cover off the bottom and Bell goes to the bottom, is that he could loosen the rear of the 30 up and get him out of the groove, and then Bell would have a run out of 4, and then they'd be side by side. So it's really a difficult situation for Miller to be in. Do you choose to block bottom and maybe get loosened up by the 15, or even have contact from him, or do you give him that clean air and just try to force him low and keep him on your left side door? It's got a decision to make.
Well, while we're talking about that, let's bring Jeremy Miller up into the broadcast booth. Jeremy, I gotta ask, that last restart, not as good as you probably wanted through 1 and 2, but this time you get another opportunity and even less laps to have to hold on to the lead. What's your chances here?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think we're the best car. I think I've probably been the second or third best car. I know Bailey just wrecked, so I guess I'll put me second. I think Adam's the only person that's been clearly better than me, but he's buried in 4th, so I just got to drive as hard as I can and hope I hold them off. Just really unfortunate that yellow came out with 17 to go or whatever it was, 'cause I think we had this race all but wrapped.
Yeah, it was looking like with the strategy you were going to be either, you know, a second or so ahead there by the tail end, and with Cabot making that mistake, you were in a really good situation. Now you've got your teammate there, you've got Cabot just behind in the second row. Good luck, man. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Jeremy Miller. Oh, I don't want to be in his shoes right now. I would like to be leading this race, but I also don't want to be in his situation. That's a weird spot to be in right now, Connor.
Yeah, I think if I'm in this situation, I'm hoping for another yellow. Get me to 2-lap territory. I mean, if I'm him, I'm thinking I can hold off most of these guys besides the 17, but if I get that one more yellow and I only have to hold him off for 2 laps, I'd really like that. So I think he just needs another good launch. It's going to be so hard for anyone behind him, even the 17, to make that pass if he just gets a good launch on the restart. That goes a long way, especially with everyone on fresh tires. Makes it that much more difficult.
Well, here we go. Let's find out if Jeremy Miller, Alex Bell, Seth Hatchell, Adam Cabot, even Ryan Carlisle up here in the top 5 can figure it out. Green flag is out. 4 laps to go when they cross the stripe. A little bit better of a launch. Let's see how he gets through 1 and 2.
And Bell did not get clear of Seth Hatchell for the second position, so that might help him out a little bit more. But it's also going to give the 17 a little bit of a run.
Adam Cabot off of turn 2, all over the back bumper of the 15. Side by side with the 8 of Seth Hatchell. Cabot going to take the high line through 3 and 4. And here comes Alex Bell peeking to the inside for the lead.
Bell dove it hard into 3, but he didn't really keep it on the bottom enough as Cabot has a run on the 15. I think the best thing Miller could have here if it goes green is those two get side by side, but he does not want Cabot to get clear as the 15 gave him the bottom. And Cabot's going to have a run on him, but look at the run the 15 gets off the top. They made contact. But watch the run. Here comes the 15. He's going to dive to the inside. They're going to be side by side for the lead with 2 laps to go.
He's going to give him some dirty air. I think this is teammates working in tandem here.
Miller's going to get the run, re-clear him, 2 to go, but the 17 still faster than Alex Bell. Bell's going to have to run the high side here again, but Miller just saw how much of a run Bell got there. Does he move up? He doesn't. He's going to run middle. All 3 top 3 drivers running different lines. Watch the run that 15.
Bell's going to have to run out of 2. I'm fairly certain that Alex Bell is just playing defense for the 30 at this point.
He's going to go to the top side again because the 17, he could not clear the 17. But now Cabot's in a good position. Miller sideways off the corner, but he kept the lead. White flag's coming out.
One more time around. Can Jeremy Miller hold on to the lead? Alex Bell on the outside playing some defense. Jeremy Miller, who had the strategy to maybe win this race naturally, has to hold on one more time. What a move there by Cabot. Now he's going to be able to dive to the inside. This is the opportunity.
He's going to dive there. How much is he going to use up the 30 out of the corner? Final corners. Here we go.
This is tight, but it looks like Jeremy Miller is going to hold on right across the line. 3/1000ths or 3/100ths of a second there. That is close.
What a finish. Oh, man, what great defense he played. They wrecked coming to the line. The 43 of Shoemaker, the 50 of Lacatus, and the 1 of Bergeron. They all crashed, but clean race at the front. Miller gets his first victory.
Congratulations to Alex Bell there for a third spot. I mean, he played defense. That's 100% what I saw. He was doing whatever he could to make sure that Cabot couldn't make a move. And even with 2 to go, he gave up just enough room that Adam Cabot fit the car in there to make a last-ditch effort on the inside. If this race went one more lap, I don't know.
Yeah, Cabot had a great, aggressive but great move to get in front of Alex Bell. It actually gave him a run out of 2. Just wasn't enough. Like you said, maybe one more lap.
Post-race interviews with your top 3. Final results after we get back from a brief commercial break. You're watching the Saturday Night Racing League and their Cup Series presented by M&J Distributors.
Racing enthusiasts, are you ready to take your sim racing experience to the next level? Look no further because 29 Graphics has got you covered. Introducing 29 Graphics, the premier provider of high-quality sim racing wraps. Whether you're a professional racer or weekend warrior, our custom design wraps will make your car stand out from the competition. 29 Graphics is now the official graphics design partner of Saturday Night Racing League.
It's a big diving water might just try to run him out of room here. Oh, he put him in the wall. They're going to crash. They both crash.
Contact 29 Graphics on their Discord or the link in the video description.
Drivers, start your printers.
To keep pace with the ever-changing landscape of marketing and advertising, let Clark Print Shop help you spot the trends and keep you in front of the pack with all your color printing needs. From business cards to invitations, menus to mugs, we can print anything you need on paper or your choice of over 3,000 promotional items. Visit www.clarkprintshop.com to browse our online catalog and place your order today, or call us at 276-889-3426. For a limited time, use the code iRacing for 23% off your first purchase. The staff at Clark Print Shop looks forward to handling all your color printing needs.
In the heartland of our country, something magical is happening. At Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes, we know the power of community, of hands coming together to create wonders. These costumes are symbols of love, compassion, and inclusion. Your hands can craft dreams. Join us at Walkin' and Rollin' Costumes build events and be a part of something extraordinary.
Back live at Kansas Speedway. Saturday Night Racing League Cup Series has concluded 140 laps here tonight. First time winner, Jeremy Miller. After everything in the strategy that you could throw at this race, it all meant nothing when we had a late race caution that created another late race caution that created a scenario with 9 laps to go, with 5 laps to go. Just so many things that went different in this race. But here we are with the final results. Adam Cabot, who was probably going to be challenging Jeremy Miller at the end of this thing, He's going to finish runner-up by 4/100ths of a second. Alex Bell, his teammate to Jeremy Miller, he finishes just side by side there in the third spot. Seth Hatchell, a top 5 day, quiet all night, started fourth, finishes fourth. Philip Brewer, how about that? He had all those struggles there at the start of this thing with the race going green. He had fallen out of the top 10. He's going to get a top 5 tonight. Mark Whitley, 6th position. Joseph McWhorter, 7th. Brian Carlisle, Chad Klinger, and Angelo Horonis round out the top 10.
Yeah, I'm not sure how Brewer got to the top 5. Didn't even note that. Chuck Sweeting survived for 11th. Michael Sturgill, I looked at that right front damage. His right front was completely towed out. I don't know how he held on to 12th, but he did. Dakota Floyd 13th, Taylor Butcher Benjamin 14th, Chambliss recovered. He was 2 laps down at one point and ends up 15th. Christopher Hodges, he had that slide. He at least got back to the 16th position. Kyle Peacock finished 17th, and these drivers at the bottom of the top 20 are drivers who were in that last lap crash. Lakatos 18th, Bryce Shoemaker 19th, Jerry Berger on 20th.
So for the rest of the field, not the day that you wanted to hear from Max Cost. He ends up 1 lap down in 21st position. Eddie Trejo 2 laps down, and then it just kind of continues here with Caleb Weekly, Brandon Wallace, Joe Spinelli, Austin Belkey. Then you get to Bailey Turner, who had a phenomenal day all the way up until about 7 laps to go and hits the outside wall. He got a little loose there in that second to last restart, and everything kind of fell apart from there. Ray Massey also had problems. Denton and Davis, I think we saw Davis have some issues very early. And so for a lot of these guys that are outside the top 30, it's more of the same. There's some big problems. Nathan Ferrata, for example.
Yeah, he was out pretty early after contact with the 57 after he got sideways himself. Then Michael Jones, 31st. Radford was out early, 32nd. Mark McFadden started the race late and then parked early, 34th. And then these three did not make it to the start. Jordan Trask, Bobby Patrica, and Benjamin Richards, none of them took the green flag.
So there you have it for your final results. That means it's time to catch up with your top 3. And we're going to start here with Alex Bell and the number 15. Alex, I got to ask, there was a lot of defense being played there. I know you were in a situation where you and Jeremy were probably on the same page strategy-wise, but you seem to be working for your teammate there on that last restart.
Oh, hell no. Working for him. I wanted to win a damn race. I don't win anything. I was trying to rip the top as hard as I could because I thought that was my one opportunity. If Jeremy had the outside of me, the few times I tried to dive inside of him, that wasn't going to happen. But yeah, I was driving my ass off trying to get by him, and that was just so much fun. I was so out of control those last few laps, and if Adam kind of wasn't there being a thorn in my side, I probably could have tried to get more on Jeremy and maybe a little more aggressive with him. But I was never going to wreck him. I was never going to wreck Adam either. Just it's so much fun racing with 2 other guys that just know how to race clean, race with respect, and can drive cars that are just out of control the whole race. So wasn't trying to play defense for him. I was trying my best to win.
Well, Alex, it looked like you were. I think you unintentionally did because you kept Adam Cabot at bay for about 2 laps there running that high line. He wasn't able to clear you. And so it made it to where I don't think the 17 ever had a chance to actually set up a pass. He squeezed it there on that last exit of 4 before the white flag. I mean, you were doing everything in your power, but let's go back to the original strategy of this race. Did you feel like you were going to end up in this spot anyway, based off of that strategy?
Yeah, it felt really good to be on the right side of a strategy call. That was definitely the right call. I think what me and Jeremy had there. I'm typically the ones doing the extra pit stop to have fresher tires and be more aggressive. So that was really the first time I've ever done like one less pit stop and save your tires more. And the first run, I saved my tires better than anyone in the field. And the second run, I kind of lost that a little bit. But I really wish the caution didn't come out because it was going to be really close between me and Jeremy. I was catching them like a tenth and a half lap towards the end of that race there. And it was going to be close between me and him. But yeah, the strategy, I think 100% that was the right strategy. I don't think Adam or anyone else on the 3-stopper was going to catch us.
It would have been very close. I know mathematically V-speed kind of lacks there. I don't like doing algebra while I'm trying to talk about what you guys are figuring out. So, A plus B equals, you get 3rd place, Alex. Congratulations.
Yeah, I appreciate just huge shout out to Adam and Jeremy racing me clean there. That was some of the most fun I've had in a while. Big shout out to to Chad and everyone that builds the sets. There's been a lot of people complaining about the sets this entire week, or the last 2 weeks actually, and I thought that was a blast. I know it's a little bit unconventional from what we usually run with the Xfinity cars being plow boxes, but having been on iRacing for 11 years, this takes me back to like my beginning days on iRacing. So I loved every bit of that. So that was a blast.
Well, Alex, congratulations on the top 3. We look forward to seeing you next week. I know we're going to be in the same state, the same location, but 2 different tracks. Challenger Series going to the Super Speedway. You guys are going to the fairgrounds, so good luck there on the paperclip version. It is what, in my opinion, it's Darlington meets New Hampshire.
Yeah, I've never turned a lap at the fairgrounds, so that should be pretty fun. So looking forward to it.
All right, man. Appreciate it.
Yep, you'll have a good night.
And that moves us on up pit road here, and it looks like Connor Horn has caught up with Adam Cabot.
Yep, I do have Adam Cabot, and Adam, it looked like you had it for a lot of that race, and you know you were doing that extra stop strategy. It was looking good for a long time until it wasn't. And first off, I guess I gotta kind of look towards that slide you had out of turn number 4. That kind of changed things for you a little bit. What happened there?
Yeah, that was something, wasn't it? I mean, I don't think it really. I mean, obviously didn't end up affecting anything because we didn't go green to the end, but I don't think it really would have mattered anyway because we were just on the wrong strategy tonight. I'm gonna just entirely blame my teammate Bailey Turner. I said, when should we pit if we're going to split this thing in half or evenly? And he said, right now. I'm like, oh, this lap, okay. And I pulled in, and that turned out to not be correct, but I'll catch him or I'll give him a break on that considering that he's won me quite a few races with this strategy, won me them in our championship with this strategy. So yeah, he earned a lot of brownie points for that, but we were definitely on the wrong strat tonight. So I decided to just push up high in 3 and 4 just to see if there was grip, just to kind of try stuff because I knew that we weren't going to at that point win the race, and yeah, barely clipped the wall, and I don't know, just lost control, went careening through the infield. So that wasn't great. But yeah, that restart at the end, that was a lot of fun. I'm pretty annoyed that I've raced twice this season so far in SNR, and both have been photo finishes that I've lost. And I think those are the only 2 photo finishes that I've lost in iRacing. So I'm batting 100 on those. But congrats to Jeremy. He ran an amazing race, and I think he was the best car on his strategy, and maybe the second or third best car overall. I mean, he had a ton of speed tonight. So that was really cool to see, and he just ran the last few laps perfect, and shout out to Bell for cutting me a break when I slid right in front of him on the last lap. I'm used to the next gen car where you can just, cut people off and they can run into you and nothing happens, but I kind of got to remind myself when I race these Xfinity cars that it's not exactly the case. So if he didn't lift a little bit there, we probably would have wrecked. But yeah, just fun battle at the end, just came up a little bit short.
Yeah, you're talking about coming up short. We talked about the restart there, but you obviously got up to 3rd pretty quickly on that final restart, but then had to deal with the 15 as well as the 30. What more would you have probably needed to actually have a shot at the 30 besides the last 2 corners?
That's a good question. I kind of wonder if I should have tried the top a little bit more. It's just the times I ran up there at the end, like I thought there was going to be a lot more speed, just being on fresh tires and figuring that we've been all running the bottom the entire race, heating it up, making it slick. I figured that the top would be the way to go, and I don't know if I just maybe didn't run it amazingly the couple times I did it, but I just got loose and figured that my best chance would be on the bottom, and also figured they'd be defending top. But I was pretty surprised to see Jeremy run middle and have that work out for him. I kind of thought entering 3 in the last lap, I was like, man, if I wrap this bottom well, I think I should get him. I feel like he's going to push up, but he just did a good job, and I guess he said that he'd been running there most of the race and found grip there. So again, congrats to him, but looking forward to being on the right side of one of these photo finishes. I feel like I'm like the Chris Buescher of this league at this point.
Well, I think you're a little more talented than that, although Buescher is really talented.
He's
but
pretty
also
good.
close, also close yet again. You're in a 17 as well, so I guess
That's true. I didn't even think about
fit.
that. Good
I didn't
point.
think about that either. But so close again, but you led 64 laps. Another good finish, P2. Thanks for talking to us, Adam. It's Adam, excuse me. I will
Hey,
see
you can't talk to me either.
Yeah, I can't either. I will see you at least, I guess, next week, or maybe next Saturday or the Monday after. And you have a good night.
I hope this Monday.
We're off the lead this Monday, but
Oh, all right. Well, never mind. All right. See you next Monday.
see ya.
All right.
All right. Well, that was Adam Cabot, and I mean, words are hard.
Very.
You guys okay?
I'm fine.
Yeah, I gotta say that I'm not doing so great myself here with the words tonight. But you know what I do know how to say? Jeremy Miller is victorious here tonight, and he did a phenomenal job, whether it was with strategy or holding his own here on the final restart. Jeremy, congratulations. You add yourself here as an SNR Cup Series winner. That's a very limited list. How do you feel, buddy?
Yeah, I mean, it feels really good. Connor had to deal with me being a crybaby for the last 20 laps, but I wasn't a crybaby about the setup like everyone else said. I was a crybaby because I thought the race was taken out of my hands, but just really appreciative of him talking me through the end there and keeping my head on my shoulders so I could go out there and just earn the win on the final restarts.
Well, you come out here with a strategy that nobody really predicted. I think it was half and half on the field here for a 2-stop race. You had some of the fastest cars in the top 10 all commit to this 3-stop race, and you, Alex Bell, and I would say probably maybe 1 or 2 cars that are in the top 10 here tonight were following that lead on the 2-stop strategy. Did that make you doubt what was going on, or were you just that committed you knew it was going to work?
No, I mean, I was a little nervous after Adam's last stop, like as to what he was tracking compared to me, but I was pretty confident with 20 to go that he wasn't going to get there just because he had fallen off to about only 6/10 better a lap and he was still like 18 seconds back. Me and Alex were both top 5 cars either way. I mean, I think either strategy, we both would have been running inside the top 5. We were running inside the top 5 before the pit strategies really all started to shake out, I think. We made the right choice, and that put us in the right position to go out there and have a chance to win the race, and I'm glad that I got it done for our team.
Outside of that, Jeremy, I know that you had a phenomenal day. This puts you in a scenario where, things get a little bit easier, and the points, probably mean a little bit more as far as, well, we're up here, we're here to stay. Anybody you'd like to shout out for tonight's performance?
Yeah, I mean, I want to just thank all the guys at FBI, Adam and Bailey. We had a great race out there together, all together. Adam, phenomenal job at the end there, making a run at me. I was just fortunate enough to hold him off. I mean, he was just by far the best car. Just really thankful to Connor, all the work he does with me, helps me out a lot here. I know he does a great job up in the booth as well here. And I do want to take a moment as well to just thank the admins of this league, Reggie, Jeff, Chad, Bryce, and everybody giving me the chance to come back over here and show that I'm able to race over here and, just have a good time and compete for wins.
Well, Jeremy, I couldn't have said it better myself.
Sorry, and Brian.
Oh, go ahead. Who?
I forgot Brian. Yeah, I don't know how I forgot him. He's my favorite of the group, but
you're shouting out Brian Chambliss, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, a little off day for him tonight. Some issues on pit road, but overall, a great race for you, Jeremy, and I look forward to seeing you there next week when we go to the fairgrounds.
Yeah, thank you, Bradley.
All righty, man. Well, take care, and we'll see you. We'll see you next time, buddy.
Thank you.
I think I just broke all of the overlays here on V-Speed. I had all kinds
Whatever
of
they
things.
go.
Yeah, I had all kinds of things there that weren't going away. But yeah, overall, fundamentally, it was a great race. It started out as one of those strategy races. Then we just hit the reset button. We took it back to the very beginning of where we started this thing and said, okay, guys, have at it.
Yeah, really, really interesting race. You had a lot of mini incidents that didn't bring out the yellow until that hardware failure for the 23, but it was very interesting. 2 stops versus 3 stops. We saw Cabot was pretty unsure it wasn't going to work even before the slide, but I think it would have been close, and I think he would have had a real shot at it. But like you said, that yellow really shook things up, and it pretty much turned it from a 140-lap marathon on different strategies to, all right, let's give you guys a 15-lap race. It was basically heat at the end, and we saw the yellows to go along with it, and it really ramped up the intensity, and it put a lot more pressure on Jeremy than I think he was hoping to have. But he withstood the pressure really well. 15 and 17 were on his tail that entire final run. He just had enough to pull it off, and yet another new winner in Saturday Night Racing League, and it's the 30th Jeremy Miller. So pretty cool to see another new winner, as we will go from a track 1.5 miles, which is a pretty standard track this week, to our first race of October, all the way in Nashville at the fairgrounds. A very bumpy track, a very short track, and it's going to be rough and rowdy, and that should be a fun place to stop at this season.
Yeah. Do you like my comparison? It's the hybrid of New Hampshire and Darlington. That's the only thing I can compare it to with the way that place is shaped. And So you've got different exits all the way around. You're never going to be consistent on both sides of the track, so that's what makes it feel like Darlington. Then you got New Hampshire because it's flat. There's no banking there really, so it's a difficult place to figure out, and very easy to end up wearing those things out, wearing the tires out. This B car is going to be very challenging there, but I have complete faith that Saturday Night Racing League in their Cup Series is going to be able to do that. And a very matched schedule, with the exception of that, with Auto Club, and then you have Michigan in the Challenger Series, Chicagoland, they go to Kansas in the Challenger Series, Richmond, they go to Bristol in the Challenger Series. It's very matched. Somebody put a lot of thought and time into the scheduling. We're not at the same place, but we are, if that makes sense. So I'm excited to see these next few weeks here. Connor, before we let him go, any final thoughts?
Just great race, a mile and a half racing. I thought the lanes worked pretty well, although it was hard to drive, and the best drivers came to the front when it mattered for sure. I think you had the 17 up there. 24 was fast all day until his wreck on the final few restarts, and you had a lot of battles, really good battles through the track, along with a strategy race that came down to almost the last lap pass. So really, really fun race.
Hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast. If you did, make sure you hit that subscribe button here on V-Speed. For everybody here, Adam Baker, Jeff Wright, everyone in the admin team over at SNR, this is Bradley Cooper on behalf of Connor Horn telling you to have a great rest of your weekend. We'll see you Sunday night for Sunoco Cup Series. Take care, everybody.